So I've been using high-grade radios for a lot of years, and this is still good stuff. This is public safety grade equipment, in my opinion.
This is Ron, KC0QVT with BridgeCom Systems here at Hamcation 2026. And you know, one of the cool things about coming to these events like this is you get to meet your customers. And I have the pleasure of meeting Bill Forbush, November 8, EMS, Emergency Management Service here. How you doing, Bill?
Doing great. How you doing?
All right. Well, Bill stopped by and just shared his thoughts about what's going on. Anyway, Bill, how's it going with your DMR journey?
You know, it's really going well. I started out with BridgeCom several years ago with an 878 and a Skybridge, and I've got a couple of new radios since then, and it's just been fantastic between the BridgeCom University, but especially the customer support. When we've had a problem, always somebody right there to take care of it immediately. Good equipment, still running great after several years.
There you go.
Very happy.
So where's your QTH, Bill?
Hotspot, Washington.
Oh, wow. So all the way up there. Yeah. Well, how'd you get down here?
But by motorhome. We're full-time RV travelers. I'm a retired fire chief and paramedic. So I've been using high-grade radios for a lot of years, and this is still good stuff. You know, this is public safety grade equipment, in my opinion.
So what are you doing with your HR? You said you're on a Skybridge. You got your 878 there, and you know. So are you just predominantly using your hotspot?
On the road, yes, but today I've got it programmed with several Simplex channels for RVRN and some of the other clubs that are here.
So, you know, we meet a lot of people that are in public safety, and as an amateur radio operator, how does that cross over with being a professional public servant as well as a ham?
Well, you know, it's interesting. One of my pet peeves, they call us amateur radio operators, but the amateurs know a lot more about radio than the professionals do. I'm not talking broadcast engineers and such, but police and fire, they push to talk. That's what they do. Most don't understand what's behind it, and there is so much behind it. And as we get to more and more digital and infrastructure dependent communications, having solid simplex communications is terribly important. And that's something that we fight with in public safety. Even when you get the Cadillac, you still need the basic equipment when everything goes wrong.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you one quick question. You know, if you had to give some advice, you say you're in a motorhome, so I'm assuming you're retired.
Yep.
Okay, so if you had to speak to the young people out there about, you know, radio and what's going on in the land and what you see, what would be the number one best advice you'd give a young person today who's maybe thinking about land mobile radio communications, ham radio, public safety, and just taking this entire industry as a profession possibly?
The best way to learn it is to play with it, and the only place you're allowed to play with it is amateur radio. So I would recommend that they get a ham license as quickly as they can, get a technician license, get started on DMR. It'll take them a couple of years to learn it all. Take the BridgeCom University courses so they know how, and then move up to general. And there's just so much you can do in ham radio. All of the experimenting. When I first became a ham, I experimented with crossband repeaters because I knew I could use that in my public safety realm. But you can't experiment in public safety. It's expensive. And so you could play with it in ham and see if it works. And then once you prove that it would work in your application, then bring it across to LMR. And it really works well.
Nice. Well, this is Bill, November 8, EMS, Emergency Managed Service. That was his profession. Made an awesome living at it. He's now in an RV, enjoying his retirement days with his wife and just seeing the country. So props to Bill, and thank you so much for being a customer, Bill. Awesome.